Okay, next on our list is Thomas Edison. He is the inventor of the incandescent light bulb. Now, you're probably used to fluorescent light bulbs, which they have a gas that gets excited inside by electricity and it glows, okay? Those are the more efficient light bulbs. The old style light bulbs had two little posts like this with a piece of wire going between the posts. And you would run electricity through it and that little wire would glow, and that's what it would cause. After Thomas Edison invents the light bulb, productivity in America goes through the roof. Factories can now be open at nighttime, which has never before happened. Imagine trying to work in a dangerous factory and all you have is candlelight. It's not really a good thing. Also, the average American, after the invention of the light bulb, started sleeping 2 hours less every night, okay? So it greatly improved the productivity of America. Eli Whitney invented interchangeable parts and the cotton gin. Now, let me explain what interchangeable parts are, okay? All right, if you look at it, inter meaning between, changeable, okay? So these two markers are the same name brand. They are different colors, right? Now, this is what interchangeable parts means. I can take the cap off the blue one and the cap off the black one and switch them and they fit perfectly. Now, why the heck is this a big deal? Well, can you imagine if this was not the case? Can you imagine trying to change the oil in your car and you had to make the filter yourself or get a master mechanic, a machinist to actually mill out an oil filter for you? What would the cost be like if every piece of every machine had to be custom built by a blacksmith or a machinist? Well, by making interchangeable parts, now if you have 20 machines that are all the same, and let's say one of your machines goes down, okay, well, you can order a new part. Or let's say 3 of them break. Well, maybe you could take 2 of the broken ones and make one of them work again. Or take one of the broken ones and make 2 of them work again because all the parts fit together. So this makes it where machines break down less often, or actually not less often, but machines are down for less amounts of time, which causes productivity to go up. Another thing Eli Whitney invented is the cotton gin. This is probably where you've heard of the man before. Okay, the cotton gin was a box with a series of combs in it that would take the seeds out of cotton. Now, one American or one person with a cotton gin could actually take the seeds out of cotton 40 times faster than a person can do it by hand. So again, productivity of cotton and the efficiency of how fast we can get the seeds out of it really skyrockets after Eli Whitney does this. And this is what really made the South grow tons of cotton. The South had so much cotton down here that they actually called it king cotton because it was the king cash crop until after the Civil War. And to be honest, even a little bit after that, they still were growing cotton. All right, now probably one of my favorite people on this list, probably one of the smartest men that ever lived, is Nikola Tesla, okay? The inventor of the radio, fluorescent light bulbs, which is the kind that we use now, and AC power, which is exactly what's powering this board right now, okay? AC power is what you have in your wires. Everything around you is AC power unless it's battery power. Battery power is direct current, which means it only runs one way. Alternating current alternates back and forth like this, and it loses less power over longer distances. This guy was an absolute genius, so these are just some of the inventions that he made. He's got over 100 patents to his name, okay, or had over 100 patents to his name. Anyway, next thing, George Westinghouse, okay, besides developing air brakes for trains, okay, if you watch old Western movies, you see guys running around when a train has to stop. They're running from cart to cart to cart, and they are pulling on these big old, looks like steering wheels. Well, that's the brakes for the train. Each car, let's say there were 200 cars, each car had its own brakes. So basically, you're braking this train at different speeds. And sometimes the train would rip itself apart and the train would derail and you would have all kind of people die. Hundreds of people, in fact, died in some instances. Well, Westinghouse says, let's put a line that connects to every cart to every other cart in the train. And we're going to use compressed air to fill that line up, and all brakes throughout the entire train will be braking at the same time, preventing all of this disaster and all this ripping the trains apart. This man probably saved thousands of lives by doing this, okay? He also promoted the use of alternating current, which is Tesla's electricity for electricity, okay? Westinghouse and Nikola Tesla were partners, okay? And not in the modern sense that you're thinking. They were business partners, okay? So anyway, moving on, we'll tell that story later. Henry Bessemer, this guy also really is a giant of industry, okay? Henry Bessemer is an English guy, okay? He's from Britain. And he figured out the cheapest way to make steel possible. In fact, we still use Henry Bessemer's, well, a version of Henry Bessemer's process. So, in order to make steel, which is really strong and cheap to make nowadays, you have to get steel at about you have to get iron and melt it, okay? And heat it up to about 3,000 degrees. And when that happens, the carbon in the iron comes up to the top and you scrape it off, and then what you have left is steel. It's a chemical reaction, okay? Well, Henry Bessemer figured something crazy out, okay? Now, don't ask me how it works because I'm not a scientist. What he figured out is if you could get this vat of iron to 2,200 degrees, which is 800 degrees cooler than the old process, and you blow cold air that are injected through pipes. If you blow cold air into the hot iron, some kind of chemical reaction occurs and the carbon floats to the top, and you get steel 800 degrees sooner than you would have before. It turns out that getting from 2,200 degrees to 3,000 degrees, the old way, is really energy inefficient, okay? It takes a whole lot of coal or a whole lot of wood and a lot of effort. But the Bessemer process makes it a lot easier, a lot cheaper. And after Henry Bessemer invents this cheap way to build steel, America takes advantage of it. And this is when you get the birth of the skyscraper and cheap steel everywhere in America. Steel is no longer a rare metal that is only used by the rich, okay, after Bessemer.